Hello students, good morning everyone. So in this session we are going to study the heat chapter, which is very important in 10th standard. So in this topic wise, what are all the important questions I am going to discuss now? So let us start heat. So in this chapter, generally we'll get the questions like what are the differences between heat and temperature, regarding units, thermal equilibrium, what is meant by thermal equilibrium, and temperature conversion, specific heat, relation between temperature and kinetic energy. Next, based on specific heat, the questions will be asked. The table, the table of specific heat. Okay, and what are the applications of specific heat, and principle of method of mixtures, how to find a specific heat of a solid experimentally, and some of the phenomena like evaporation, condensation, boiling, melting, freezing. So these concepts are very important. So questions may be asked like from the any concept, but 4 marks questions we can expect from this chapter on specific heat. 4 marks questions will be given on specific heat and specific heat of solid, how to find the specific heat of a solid experimental procedure. So these two are very important 4 marks questions. So before going to all these things, let us discuss what do you mean by heat and what do you mean by temperature. First of all, so already we know that heat, it is a form of energy. Heat is a form of energy. So heat can flow from one body to another body. Heat can flow from one body to another body. So what is thermal equilibrium says actually means, so when one body is in thermal contact with another body, heat transfer will take place from hot body to the cold body. From hot body to the cold body. Suppose a body A is in thermal contact with another body B. Body is A, thermal contact with B. Say this is a hot body, this is a cold body. Hot body, cold body. So heat transfer will take place from hot body to cold body. Heat transfer will take place always from hot body to cold body. So that is known as heat. Heat is a form of energy which will transfer from hot body to cold body always. Now, how can we decide whether which body is a hot body, which body is a cold body? So by the term called temperature, we can say the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. The degree of hotness or coldness of a body is known as temperature. By knowing the degree of hotness or coldness, you can say the temperature of the body. So heat is a form of energy, but temperature, it is a measurement of heat. That means it is measurement of how much cold it is, how much hot it is. It will show the degree of hotness or coldness. Heat is energy and it is measured in joule. So SI unit of heat is joule. And another unit is calorie. Calorie. So what is the relation between joule and calorie? 1 calorie is equal to 4.186 joule. 1 calorie is equal to 4.186 joule, which is approximately equal to 4.2 joule. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. So this is about heat, units of heat. And coming to the temperature, the units of temperature, the SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. So absolute temperature is measured in Kelvin. Kelvin. And another scale you can call is degree centigrade or degree Celsius. Degree centigrade. Kelvin is the SI unit. Kelvin is measured. That means by using Kelvin you can measure the absolute temperature. You can also measure with the degree centigrade. You can also express it in centigrade scale. And what is the relation between degree centigrade and Kelvin means? K is equal to C plus 273. K is equal to C plus 273 is the relationship between K and C. So in the examination, they may give the questions like convert 40 degree centigrade into Kelvin scale. Convert 40 degree centigrade into Kelvin scale. So you can convert this using this formula. So how will you convert? K is equal to C plus 273. So in the place of C, I have to substitute 40. So 40 plus 273. 40 plus 273. So it will give 313 Kelvin. 313 Kelvin. So like this, the conversions, while you are doing conversions, this will be helpful and it will be asked for 1 mark question. This is important for 1 mark. This is important for 1 mark question. Yes, that is the difference between the heat and temperature. So heat is a form of energy and it will always transfer from hot body to cold body. But temperature is giving the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. The SI unit of heat energy is joule. CGS unit is calorie. We'll consider 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joule. And similarly, in temperature, SI unit we are considering Kelvin and other unit, say degree centigrade. And what is the relationship between Kelvin and centigrade scale? K is equal to C plus 273. So this is very important conversion. 40 degree Kelvin, 40 degree centigrade into Kelvin scale. So using the above formula C plus 273, if you substitute, you will get 313 Kelvin. Next important question. What is meant by thermal equilibrium? Thermal equilibrium. So this definition is very important. Definition is very important. When two bodies are in thermal contact, when two bodies are in thermal contact, heat flows from a body at higher temperature to a body at lower temperature. Until they both attain the same temperature. They both attain the same temperature. The state of the two bodies is said to be thermal equilibrium. Where where a body neither receives nor gives out heat energy. Where a body neither receives nor gives out heat energy. Nor gives out heat energy. So this is called as thermal equilibrium. So in this thermal equilibrium position, the name itself says that equilibrium. Equilibrium in the sense properties are same. Equilibrium means properties are same. That means the both bodies have the same temperature. Suppose you consider this is one body, this is another body. Both are in thermal contact. Both are in thermal contact, for example. So this is at a temperature of 100 degrees centigrade. This is at a temperature of 40 degrees centigrade. So heat transfer is taking place from hot body to cold body. So up to then that the both bodies attain the same temperature. The heat transfer takes place up to this body and this body have the attain the same temperature. Say that final temperature be T. Okay. So that the final temperature, say this is T1 and T2, this final temperature is always less than T1 because higher temperature. T1 is the higher temperature. And T will be greater than 40 degrees centigrade. That is T will be greater than T2. T will be greater than T2. Lower temperature. Lower temperature. That resultant temperature T, it lies in between T1 and T2. It lies in between T1 and T2. So T1 greater than T greater than T2. So this is the effective temperature, how it will be lying in between T1 and T2. Between T1 and T2. So this is known as thermal equilibrium. Next, another important question. Another important question is temperature and kinetic energy. Temperature and average kinetic energy. Temperature and average kinetic energy. So, how will you define the temperature is directly proportional to average kinetic energy? How will you say that the temperature is directly proportional to average kinetic energy of the molecules means? So here an activity is there for us. Let us see that activity. So take two bowls. Take two bowls. One is filled with hot water. Another one filled with cold water. One is filled with hot water. Another one filled with cold water. Cold water. So you just gently sprinkle food color. So all of you have the food color in your houses. So or you can take any other grains like KM and Mo4. Okay. So like that you can sprinkle some food color on the hot water and cold water as well. Say this is the food color. in cold water and hot water. Just sprinkle the food color on the surface of the water. So what you can observe means there is a jiggling of the jiggling of this food color. That means these will move randomly. These will move randomly with different speeds. So you observe it. The speed is more rapid in hot water. Speed of uh, speed of food color is more rapid is more rapid in hot water hot water than cold water than cold water. So what you can understand from this one, why these are moving very fastly in hot water than compared to cold water means. So whenever in this hot water, we know that temperature is high because for a hot body temperature will be high. For a cold body temperature is low. For a cold body temperature will be low. So because of that increase in temperature, because of that heat energy, due to the temperature, the body, that means the food color which is present in the water, it is gaining velocity. It is gaining its velocity, is moving more with more speed. Means what is the meaning? Its velocity is increasing. What happens if the velocity increases? When the body is moving with some velocity, it will possess kinetic energy. It will possess kinetic energy. So as the velocity increases, kinetic energy also increases. So why this is happening? Because temperature is more. Because temperature is more. So when you consider the cold water, in cold water, jiggling is seen with a normal speed. That means we can see that the speed is more in first beaker compared to the second beaker. So velocity of the food grains in the second beaker is less. That's why kinetic energy is less. So here velocity is less, kinetic energy is also less because temperature is less. Because temperature is less. That's why you can conclude from the from this activity you can conclude the average kinetic energy of the molecules is directly proportional to absolute temperature. Absolute temperature, very very important. So if the temperature increases, kinetic energy also increases. The temperature increases, kinetic energy also increases. So from this activity you can conclude this. Next concept is specific heat. Next concept is specific heat. So what is this specific heat? Means first of all you have to think about objects, all materials. Different objects are made of different materials. So when you heat all the objects, will they take the same energy? Will they take the same heat energy? They will not take the same heat energy. Suppose you are giving heat energy to a material like iron. You are giving heat energy to water. You are giving heat energy to ice. So will they behave same? They will not behave like same. So what happens if iron is heated? It will take more heat within a short time. Within a short time. When you heat water, it will take less time. It will take more time to heat. It will take more time to heat. In the same way, when you take ice, It will melt and it will take some time to heat up. Compared to water, it will be less time. So why these materials are behaving differently? Why these materials are behaving differently? Because they have a specific character of absorbing the heat. They have a specific character of absorbing the heat. So this property of a material is said to be specific heat. This property of a material is said to be specific heat. So every object, every material, it is having different specific heat value. So based on that specific heat value, we can calculate how much quantity of heat is given to that particular substance to get heated. Suppose you want to heat water, how much amount of heat energy you have to give? You want to heat some metal, how much heat energy you should give? Without knowing the specific heat value, we cannot say the uh, how much heat is required for the heating the material. So for this only we have this concept of specific heat. So what is the specific heat? We derived this one? How the specific heat is derived means based on the quantity of heat only. Just now I told you quantity of heat is it is directly proportional to mass of the substance. Quantity of heat is directly proportional to mass of the substance. So the mass is more, quantity of heat supplied is more. Suppose you want to heat 500 ml of water. You want to heat 500 ml of water, and in the another vessel you are heating 1 liter of water. 1 liter water. So quantity of heat supplied for 500 ml is less when compared to the quantity of heat supplied to the 1 liter water. That means here mass is m1, here m2, m1 less than m2, m1 less than m2. Therefore q1 is less than q2. So quantity of heat supplied for mass m2 is more compared to mass m1. So therefore q is directly proportional to m. Say this as equation number 1. And similarly, rise in temperature. Rise in temperature. So when you are taking this one, here delta T should be constant. Delta T is constant. That means we are not going to change the temperature here. Delta T is constant. When you are giving the constant flame, heat energy required is directly proportional to mass m, because delta T is constant here. When you take delta T, when your mass is constant, suppose you take in both vessels, you take 50 ml of 500 ml of water. 500 ml of water. So when you take 500 ml of water, in both cases, in both beakers, Q is quantity of heat is directly proportional to delta T. It is directly proportional to delta T when mass is constant. When mass is constant. So you have to check quantity of heat increases, rise in temperature also increases. When you increase the heat, when you increases the heat energy, rise in temperature also increases proportionally. Therefore, quantity of heat supplied is directly proportional to delta T. Therefore, it is considered as equation 2. So from 1 and 2, you can write Q is directly proportional to M into delta T. If you remove this proportionality, you will get Q is equal to Ms delta T. Q is equal to Ms delta T, which is the formula used for finding the quantity of heat supplied. So this is very important formula while doing the problems. Equation 3. So how to find the quantity of heat supplied? Quantity of heat supplied is equal to Ms delta T. Quantity of heat supplied is equal to Ms delta T. where S is called specific heat, where S is called specific heat. S is called specific heat. So from this equation, S is equal to Q by M delta T. From this equation, S is equal to Q by M delta T. Very, very important equation. Equation 3 and 4 both are important equations. S is equal to Q by M delta T. Next, coming to the units, SI units. SI units of specific heat. So for quantity of heat supplied, SI unit is joule by, for mass the unit is kg, for delta T Kelvin. So you can write this one as joule kg inverse Kelvin inverse. Similarly, CGS units, when you are writing the CGS units, calorie by gram degree Celsius can also be written as calorie gram inverse degree centigrade inverse. So these are the very, very important units of specific heat. So in the examination, generally, definitely one bit, one mark questions, or maybe asked for 4 marks questions. They may split into 1 mark questions. So in that also they may ask the SI unit or CGS unit of specific heat. Very, very important. So specific heat units are joule kg inverse Kelvin inverse and calorie gram inverse degree centigrade inverse. And what is the relationship between joule kg inverse Kelvin inverse and calorie per gram degree Celsius? One one calorie per gram degree Celsius. 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius is equal to 4.186 into 4.186 into 10 cube 10 cube joule per kg Kelvin. Joule per kg Kelvin. This is very, very important bit. So definitely this bit will be asked in the exam. 1 calorie per gram degree centigrade is equal to 4.186 into 10 power 3 joule per kg Kelvin. So already we know 1 calorie per gram degree centigrade means, can write like this. So 1 calorie means how many joules? 4.186 joule by 1 gram is equal to 10 power minus 3 kg. 1 degree centigrade rise in degree centigrade scale is equal to 1 Kelvin rise in temperature, because 1 degree rise in Celsius scale is equal to 1 Kelvin rise in Kelvin scale. So this is very, very important. 1 degree rise in Celsius scale is equal to 1 Kelvin rise in Kelvin scale, because here from 1 degree in centigrade scale we have divisions from 0 degree centigrade to 100 degree centigrade, which we are calling as a lower fixed point, which is called as ice point in centigrade scale. But in when you take 100 degree centigrade, it is called as a steam point or upper fixed point in degree centigrade scale. When you take Kelvin scale, it is 273 Kelvin, which is called as lower fixed point to 373 Kelvin, it is called as a upper fixed point, and these are called ice point and steam point respectively. Ice point and steam point respectively. So here the difference is 100. 100 divisions are there. Here also 100 divisions are there. That's why in between these two, how many divisions are there? 100 divisions. 100 divisions. So each degree rise in Celsius is equal to each 1 Kelvin rise in Kelvin scale. 1 degree rise in centigrade scale equal to 1 Kelvin rise in Kelvin scale. That's why here change in temperature, in this formula change in temperature, we are considering Kelvin inverse and degree centigrade inverse. So now 10 power minus 3, 1 gram is equal to 10 power minus 3 kg. Degree centigrade I am writing Kelvin because the degree centigrade can be written as Kelvin. 1 degree centigrade rise equal to 1 Kelvin temperature rise. So therefore 1 calorie gram inverse degree centigrade inverse is equal to 4.186 into 10 power minus 3, it becomes 10 power 3 joule kg inverse Kelvin inverse. So this is how we got the relation between 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius and joule per kg Kelvin. So in the next class we'll study the remaining topics. Thank you.